Good evening, all of you. So it's a wonderful evening. I hope you all enjoyed the lectures given by various experts the previous days. And today I'm going to give an overview of marine natural product. Okay, so before going to the topic, so I just want to tell you the basic things about marine ecosystem and marine biodiversity. And although the diversity of life in the terrestrial environment is extraordinary, but still it is limited when compared to the marine ecosystem. And out of 36 phyla, you can find 34 phyla present in the marine ecosystem. And obviously, all of you know that more than 70% of the earth is covered by ocean, and it is approximately 3 lakh species of plants and animals are recorded in the marine ecosystems. Not only the macroscopic plants and animals, but also the microorganisms and symbiotic organisms, etc., etc. So if you see the presence, they are not only present only in a particular area or depth, so they are almost present everywhere, including the polar region, temperate region, tropical areas. So we can expect a huge diversity of not only the organisms, but also the bioactive substances, and especially from the ecosystem like coral reefs, sponges, seagrasses, mangroves, etc., etc. Okay, so we have many oceans, and the Pacific Ocean is the world's greatest tropical marine biodiversity, and so nothing is small or nothing is big. So we have all the diversity, and so each and every organism is unique, and their role in the ecosystem also unique. So obviously, if you see the marine natural products, each and every organism is contributing to their level, small or big, whatever it may be. Okay, so this is the record of species. So previously I told approximately 300,000 species. It's at least 226,408 species is available. And if you see the organic activity, 90% is happening under the seawater. You cannot see. And if you see the exploration of marine ecosystem, we have hardly explored 10%. Still 90% of the marine ecosystem and biodiversity and their role in the environment and ecosystem is yet to be studied. So that much important it is. Okay, and overall, if you see the marine ecosystem, so you can see the euphotic and aphotic like that, based on the light and based on the depth, based on the region, whether it is abyssal zone, benthic zone, land region, or in the water. So we can classify the marine ecosystem into different zones, and each and every zone is important for the different organisms. Okay, we cannot neglect even deep sea also. Even we can find many good things from the deep ocean as well as from the coastal region as well as the offshore on everywhere. Okay, so coming to the marine ecosystem means not only the seawater. Okay, so adjacent habitat also consider as marine ecosystem only. Here I have given salt marsh, where you cannot find other terrestrial plants. Okay, only these succulent plants survive in the salty regions, and so they are also unique, and the microorganisms living here is unique, and their products are unique. Okay, so they are, because they live in a extreme environment, and some of the plants also there. Okay, so they are also part of it. Okay, and the next ecosystem is sandy beaches. Maybe for us, sandy beach is a recreational place for swimming and boating. Not only that, there are organisms, crabs, and so many birds, shore birds, and molluscan species, crabs, small fishes nearby shore. Okay, the intertidal waters. Not only in the water, on the shore, you can see animals living and burrowing. Okay, some shrimps and small bivalves. So they are also important organisms to explore the marine products, marine natural products. Rocky shore also important, equally important, and even with the wave action all the time, there are organisms attached to it, and they have a special mechanism to attach. They may have a special mechanism to adapt in the water and exposed to the air. Not only the organism, but also the dependent microorganisms. Okay, so we could see the sea anemone, hermit crab, shore crab, mussels, barnacles, even seaweeds, flatworms, nudibranchs, sea urchins attached to it. They are also very important when we see about marine natural products. And another ecosystem is estuary. Estuary is again very important ecosystem where the river water is connected with the sea. It's a mixing region. So fresh water and salt water is getting mixed, and the organisms lives here is unique. So they are tolerant to high levels of salinity, low levels of salinity, and so from that also we can expect many good things. And in the same way, coastal lagoons, again, they are disconnected from the freshwater flow directly, but there is a direct connection with the seawater. They are like coastal lakes, or we can also say salt lake, coastal lagoon. Maybe the people use that place for recreation purpose, but not only that, there are unique organisms. They come and go seasonally. And coming to the coastal ecosystem, especially in the shallow region, you can find the mangroves, seagrasses, coral reefs, all are important. So they are directly or indirectly depending on the freshwater flow. Okay, so freshwater not only brings fresh water, but also the nutrients from the rocks, soils, and sediments, and so the turbid water contains a lot of nutrients that is essentially required for the coastal ecosystem, like mangroves, seagrasses, coral reefs, etc. Okay, so without that, there is no life cycle. So there may be a disconnection. Okay, so always there is a connectivity with the land, with water, etc. Okay. So, and again, we might have heard about anadromous migration, heterodromous migration, but in the habitat, they have migration. Okay, from mangroves to seagrass, mangroves to coral reef to seagrass, coral reef to mangroves, seagrass to both habitats. So always there is a movement of organisms in their life cycle. Okay, so not all the time, some time of their life cycle. That's why all the ecosystem is equally important, and Coming to the mangroves, mangroves are otherwise known as coastal wetlands. They support a lot of fishes, crabs, shrimps. Not only that, beneficial microorganisms and so many molluscan species. Okay. So some of the mangrove species are given here. Rhizophora and Avicennia are the most dominant species overall in Tamil Nadu also. And other than that, this we also have salt marshes. So they are living near to the mangrove ecosystem in the coastal area. So the land area. And definitely, mangrove ecosystem supports lot of organisms, macroorganisms, fishes, crabs, birds, prawns, and shellfish, algae, microorganisms, crustaceans, and benthic organisms. And where there is detritus, where you can expect lot of microorganisms. Where there are microorganisms, so they are directly or indirectly connected with the plants, mangrove plants. So again they live in a salt water. You can expect good things. They are nothing but marine natural products. They are not only supporting the biodiversity of the ecosystem, but also human being directly as well as indirectly. And starting from a small organism, the mangrove ecosystem support the fishes, shrimps, crabs, and then big fishes and turtles, birds, even the reptiles, birds, even the tigers. Okay, so they are part and parcel of the fisherman community. Finally, it's a socio-economically, they are all very important. And without mangroves, no shrimp, no crab, no tiger. Okay, tiger, you can find tiger in West Bengal, the Sundarbans, Gujarat, you can find camels. Okay, you can find all the species. And they are very useful, not only for our purpose, but also the world purpose. Okay, so they are the best carbon sink. Okay, they absorb a lot of carbon dioxide we emit from the industries and vehicles, and they absorb. So they protect the coastal region and they clean the water. Fishery resource is created, and they are the wildlife habitat. And for us human, we have ecotourism. Okay. So next to that, seaweed ecosystem, you may not see everywhere, only in a restricted place you can find. Okay, wherever the wave action is less, you can find the seaweed ecosystem, and they are the food for many organisms. Okay, so including herbivore fishes, and so the detritus is a food for benthic animals, and then benthic animals and filter feeders. From that, phytoplankton, and then zooplankton and small fishes, big fishes. So there is a food web. Okay, so which includes microorganisms. So they are producing the marine natural products. And there are many varieties of seaweeds available in the ecosystem. Okay, and maybe in India, you can find this organism in Gulf of Mannar, Gulf of Kutch, and Andaman Nicobar Islands, as well as Lakshadweep Islands. Okay, so and so based on the color, there are organisms. Okay, so they are natural products, and we say these seaweed byproducts. Okay, otherwise known as phycocolloids. They are useful in almost all the industries: food industry, confectionery, pharmaceutical industry, biomedical industry, dairy industry, textile, paper industry, as well as and paint industries, because of their properties, specialized properties like a gelling agent, stabilizing agent, as well as thickening agent. Okay. So many species are available: seaweed, green seaweeds, brown seaweeds, red seaweeds. From that, lot of products have been extracted and used, and most of them are biologically active compounds. Okay, so they are very, very useful to human. Even they have almost all the activities as well as biomedical properties. Coming to the comparison between seaweed and seagrass. Seaweed is like plants. Okay, you cannot compare with the terrestrial plants. They are specialized structures to adapt in the natural environment. So that is marine environment. Okay, so you can see the parts that is hold fast is like a root-like structure, and the stipe is like a stem, and the blade is always known as a leaf. Okay, leaf-like structure. Seagrass again looks like the terrestrial grasses only. So they have flower, they have rhizome, they have roots, but they live in the seawater, and so almost all the time they submerged in water, and they are very, very beautiful ecosystem, fertile ecosystem, and the associated organism is important here, especially in the marine byproducts, marine natural product discovery. So we have different grass species from small to big size. There are turtle grass, manatee grass, and they support different species like sea cow. Okay, sea cow. Without seagrass, no sea cow. Without seagrass, no turtle. Without seagrass, no sea horse. Okay. So if they are destroyed, not only the organism, but also the associated organisms. Okay. When you cut a particular tree or plant, any of the marine species, it may be a mangrove, it will support approximately 200 species. Okay. So if we lose one particular tree, we will lose the whole biodiversity. Okay. So that's why it's very, very important to conserve the marine ecosystem. And next ecosystem is coral reef ecosystem, very beautiful ecosystem. So they are otherwise called tropical or temperate rainforest. So underwater forest, we can see. Okay. So they are colorful, they are different types. So they are not actually rocks, but they are organisms and beautiful organisms, and so many colorful marine organisms live here, and maybe a shark come for food, and the starfish, sea anemone, and especially the bacteria, fungi, and associated organisms. Okay, all are important, so they are medically important, and so marine byproducts extracted from this environment are having unique properties, useful properties, and the marine environment not only support the plants like mangrove or seaweed or seagrass, but also the animals, that is fishes, colorful fishes, normal fishes, edible fishes, and even people try to propagate coral reefs in a suitable area. So when we do like this, we can promote the biodiversity. Okay, so due to ocean acidification or global warming, climate change, and human activities, so we are losing the coral reef ecosystem. And if you see most of the marine natural products, so they are coming from marine sponge most of the time, and next to marine sponge, the coral reef associated microorganisms. Okay, so what is important is that we need to give priority to marine conservation. Okay, marine ecosystem environment as well as biodiversity conservation. Okay, so coming to the core subject, the marine natural products. By definition, marine natural products can be defined as the biologically active products as secondary metabolites as well as enzymes, lipids, and heteropolysaccharides. Okay, so basically, so this is the thing. Okay, so we may see crudely secondary metabolites are biologically active compounds or active principles or active products. Okay, so they are useful to human. Okay, so we human need so many products, especially the drug molecules or active principles, and most of the things can be obtained from the marine organisms. And if you see the marine natural products, most of the products are obtained from the invertebrates. Okay, so invertebrates are always the specialized organisms, especially the sponges. Okay, so maybe I can say more than 90% of the marine natural product is obtained from the sponge as well as the sponge associated microorganisms. Okay, so they are unique, very primitive organisms. They are highly associated with the microorganisms, and both are symbiotically living, and they are producing unique compounds. They are useful to us in the form of antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, anti-tumor, anti-cancer, all sorts of compounds. Okay, and next to sponges we have tunicates, bryozoans, and mollusks. All are invertebrates only, as well as from the marine microorganisms. So they may be independent or dependent or symbiotically associated with the marine organisms. It may be plants or animals. Okay. And so what is important here nowadays is that pharmaceutical agents are otherwise called drugs. Okay, and very recently we people search for a novel lead compounds for fungal infections, parasitic infections, bacterial, as well as viral diseases. Okay, so very recently, even now, we people are searching for the good antiviral properties. Okay, against COVID-19, and new mutants are coming. Okay, maybe we have a solution in the marine ecosystem. Okay, until now, many scientists are working all over the world, including our Satyabama University. We have Center for Ocean Research and Center for Drug Development Research. Okay, so we have centers. They are doing a lot of research, and maybe most of them are related to marine natural product research. And if you see the output, okay, already done by many scientists, we have dolostatin 10 and ectinacidin 743, cahalidin F, and ablidin. Okay, these are the few products I'm telling. So this is not the actual list. We have more than 20,000 compounds available. I cannot tell all the products, but I will try to tell you some of the compounds available. And very recently, people suffer from cancer is one of the predominant problem in the human society. People are searching for drugs from various sources, and one of the important source is the marine source. Okay, not only for cancer therapy, also for drug-resistant bacteria. Okay, we have MRSA and other drug-resistant bacteria. So we are in a position to develop some more drugs to control those drug-resistant pathogens, and the emerging infectious diseases also there, bioterrorism also there. Okay, so we need to tackle all these problems, and the most ideal source is the marine ecosystem, because almost all the terrestrial ecosystem and products extraction or exploration have been completed. We cannot expect much better product from terrestrial than marine ecosystem. And coming to the drug discovery started very recently. Okay, after Alexander Fleming, we have discovered penicillin, and then streptomycin discovered by Selman A. Waxman. That was the starting point of drug discovery, and from that period onwards, people are trying from different sources, and very recently, like 30 to 40 years, people are searching for the novel products, okay, natural products from the marine plants and animals, as well as from the different ecosystem, okay, including deep sea and all. And already from marine plants and animals and microbes have already yielded more than 12,000 novel chemicals. So this is not the new list, maybe old list. The numbers are increasing year after year. It will go, okay, in the coming years also for the development of pharmaceutical products. Okay, so all the drugs. So biological activities, and definitely almost all the marine byproducts, marine natural products are very, very useful for the treatment of infectious diseases, no doubt about it. And still the process is underway. And even though we have seen around 300,000 organisms present in the marine ecosystem, and there are organisms famous for marine natural products. So they are marine microorganisms, most of the microorganisms, as well as phytoplankton. So they are unique organisms. And marine sourced bacteria, cyanobacteria, marine sourced fungi, and fungi from mangroves. So they are again unique from the other environment. Dinoflagellates, green algae, brown algae, red algae. So all seaweeds are important. Sponges, cnidarians, bryozoans, mollusks, and tunicates, and echinoderms, starfishes, so mangroves associated microorganisms, etc., etc. So salt marsh, etc., etc. So just for your information, I am showing a few slides of pictures. Bryozoans, they are very, very primitive organisms. Sea hare, sea snails, sea cucumber, okay? And tunicates, very, very fragile organisms, soft-bodied organisms, and they are living nearby coral or sea sponge ecosystem. Sea sponge, again, very soft organism. So if you see the cross section, they are unique, and so the associated organisms are producing a lot of secondary metabolites, and there are so many species available, okay, and different shape, size, color, okay. And based on the activity, we can see few organisms and their activity, okay. So and based on here, we are going to see some of the antifungal compound producing organisms, marine organisms, okay. So that is sasplagquinolide, okay. So it's a cyclodepsipeptide isolated from a sponge and was identified from just this species collected in Fiji, okay. So they are active against Candida albicans, and the next compound is gambieric acid. They are extracted from the epiphytic marine dinoflagellate called Gambierdiscus toxicus, and gambieric acid A is the compound that inhibits the growth of Aspergillus niger. So this and they are better than the amphotericin B, okay. So what we used for fungal infections, not only that, so many antifungal compounds have been extracted Here are the names, some of the antifungal compound producing compounds. Chemical structure is given here for your use, and this is the list. Okay, so aranticide and 4-baxosol, halicingamide, halichondramide, fascapcin, meridin, bengazole A, so telomycalin A. So these are the compound names and the type of antibiotics, a natural product, that is polyketatide, macrolides, and bis, polycyclic alkaloid, oxazole, polycyclide. Okay, so the common source mostly from sponge, Halichondria species and other species, Jaspi species, Tilocalus. So most of the antibiotic names are given. So the active principles are given in the name after the species name. Okay, sponge species name, and they are active against Candida albicans. So and Estuary, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and Aspergillus fumigatus, and all. Okay, and in the same way, there are species producing anti-tuberculosis activity compounds, and some of the compounds are listed here: axisonitrile B3, bupihenone, and pseudoteroxazole, ergogenin, and litosterol, manzamine A, H. Okay, so two derivatives, and ursinol A, and 8-hydroxy amazamine A was the first isolated from sponge. Okay, and no need to mention about that. Most of the bioactive principles are extracted from the sponge associated bacteria or sponge. Okay, so they show potent inhibitory activity against Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and pseudoteroxazole is active against Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, and ergogenin. Okay, so it's another triterpene. Okay, so they are also active against Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and litosterol is another metabolite. Okay, extracted from Okinawan soft coral, Lithophyton viridis. Okay, so they are active against tuberculosis. Bupihenone, active against tuberculosis, and most of them are extracted from sponges as well as from coral species. And the next thing is anti-helminthic activity. Helminth parasite is one of the parasite where people are affected when they don't follow clean habit. Okay, when they play in dirty places, so they are with the helminth parasites, and they not only affect human but also livestock and other animals. So they are interchangeable from animal to human, human to animal, and so there are drugs available. For example, Ascaris lumbicoides is a parasite helminth worm, and marine natural product are active against helminth worms. Ampilactam D, geodin A, Mg salt, magnesium salt, and trans dihydroxy tetrahydrofuran is another compound. Okay, so they are anti-parasitic in nature, and so Jaspla quinolide represent they are potent and anti-parasitic as well as antifungal agent. Okay, it is not that it must show only one particular activity. It will also show other activity also. Okay, like antifungal, antibacterial, anti-tumor, etc., etc. In addition to anti-parasitic effect, they will also show other activity. And nematode parasite is another problem in the underdeveloped country, and wherever the environment is not clean, people with not clean, so they are affected by nematode parasites. And so the secondary metabolite are extracted from Australian marine brown alga. So the compound name is dihydroxy tetrahydrofuran. Okay, so they are active against this trichostrongylus. Okay, and other nematodes. Okay, so we have thousands of nematode species. Few are medically important. Okay, so they are extracted from Great Australian bite species. Okay, and a sponge Geodia species collected from southern Australia has yielded a potent nematocidal agent. Geodin A, magnesium salt, is a macrocyclic polyketide, lactam tetramic acid showing an LD19 value of 1 μg per ml. So this is the data. And next thing is anti-protozoal activity. So marine derived natural products showing promising efficacy against the protozoal infections caused by Leishmania species, Trypanosoma species, Toxoplasma species, and Plasmodium species are protozoan parasites, and the compounds extracted from the marine sources are given here. So calichinol and neocauloamine and cyclic peroxide from the sponge Placotis. And okay, so some of the compounds. Okay, Leishmaniasis is a protozoan parasite. They are causing protozoan problem diseases. Okay, but we can cure the disease, protozoan diseases, by using the compounds produced from marine products, especially from the sponges. Okay? Sponges of the genus Placotis, as well as are well known for their production of cyclic peroxidase. 2 peroxidase induced by the pollen sponge Placotis. Okay, and so they are active against Leishmania mexicana. So in the same way, toxoplasmosis is another problem that infects a cat as well as human. And so the alkaloid Masilamani A displays 70% inhibition of the Toxoplasma gondii parasite. So at a very low concentration without cell toxic effects. So that's a good thing. And sigmoceptralin B, isolated from Red Sea sponge, Diacarnus erythraeus. Okay, erythraeus. So they are against Toxoplasma gondii without severe toxic effect, because most of the anti-protozoan parasite drugs are so effective against protozoa. Not only that, they also show severe side effects. Okay, so itching and other things. And but when we use the marine byproducts, so marine natural products, so they show little side effect or no side effect. Okay, and trypanosomiasis is nothing but human African trypanosomiasis, that is called sleeping sickness, and so they are very predominant in African countries. And the product from alga species, that is green alga, shows activity against this organism. And ascosalipyrrolidinone A shows activity against T. cruzi with an minimum inhibitory concentration of 1.1 microgram per liter. Okay, so when compared to the commercially available drug. And malaria, so is known to you. So it's caused by Plasmodium species. It may be Falciparum vivax or species.
All have not joined yet.
Okay, and Manzomine A exhibit potent in vitro activity against Plasmodium falciparum. Okay, we have options to explore more antibiotics from the marine resource. Okay, as of now, we have very limited bioactive compounds for to control malaria, but we have uh, options to go for marine ecosystem to identify uh, more active compounds for malaria. And diisocyanoadenosine has been isolated from the sponge Cimbastella hooperi. Okay, so and calyhinan iterpenoids, okay, exhibit activity against malaria. Okinawan marine sponge Acanthella again showed in vitro antimalarial activity. And so few resources I have given. And now antibacterial activity. Antibacterial activity, we have so many bacteria. Bacterial infection is common, and we have different classes of bacteria. Okay, so non-pathogenic, mild pathogens, moderate pathogens, highly pathogens, and we have medicines, drugs for almost all the bacteria, but the problem is drug resistant bacteria. And some of the antibacterial marine natural products are given here: promospirone, pestalone, criprostalin, statin B, squalamine, and jorumycin, etc. And they are all extracted from squalamine is extracted from dogfish shark. The scientific name is Squalus aganthias, and they are actively again inhibiting the growth of Staphylococcus aureus. Not only that, they also show anti-angiogenic and anti-tumor properties, and they are currently tested. They are in the clinical trials for cancer therapy also. Crisprostatins were isolated from a blue sponge, and they also show anti-neoplastic and antimicrobial activities, as well as criprostatin is active against Neisseria gonorrhea. Okay, so another bacteria, and penicillin resistant N gonorrhea can be controlled by using criprostatin. And in the same way, bioactive compounds extracted from red algae, so especially Atlantic coast of Morocco. So not only that, red algae is available everywhere. We can also make use of those red algae for antibacterial agents. So that is having diterpene, promospirone. So they are active against Staph aureus. A marine fungus associated with the brain algae, the genus Pestalotia, collected from the Bahamas, showed antibiotic activity. The common name is pestalone, has potent antibiotic activity against MRSA. So this is very, very important, because drug resistance is an emerging problem. We have a solution to control those also with the marine fungus. Okay, so they are associated with the marine algae. So jorumycin is a Pacific nudibranch. Okay, so the extracted from that inhibit various gram-positive bacteria. So wide spectrum antibiotic. And next thing is antiviral compounds. So we are facing a virus outbreak, not only human but also animals as well as plants. So many compounds have been extracted and identified. So they are tested with various viruses like HIV, dengue virus, HIV, rhinovirus, polio virus, HSV. Okay, so herpes simplex virus, vesicular stomatitis virus. Okay, so we have bioactive compounds extracted from the marine resources, and so they are very, very active. Okay, when the compound, again sponge is the organism, they produce a nucleoside RNA, and they are active against different viruses, and Caribbean tunicate again showed anti-tumor activity. Okay. And didemnin B is cytotoxic and inhibits cellular DNA, RNA, and protein synthesis at concentrations close to those at which viral growth was inhibited. Okay, and tunicates from the genus Eudistoma is important because so they produce antiviral property against the herpes simplex virus 1 and 2. Okay, so in the same way, New Zealand sponge Michael species. Okay, so they are again active against. So the compound name is Michaelamide A was again effective against A59 coronavirus, and this is not the COVID-19. This is the previous version. Maybe we can again search from the same sponge or other sponge for inhibiting coronavirus. In addition to the vaccine, we can also search the drug molecule from the marine organisms. And anti-cancer activities. So this is a recently emerged field, I can say, and a lot of cancer has come because of the lifestyle, human lifestyle, are so many problems. Okay, food habits and way of living, and so knowingly or unknowingly exposed to carcinogenic and all, and there are species available, and so they produce broad spectrum anti-tumor agents, that is ectinacidine, okay, and tunicate. We have options. Not only that, we have so many compounds extracted from different resources like bryozoa, sea hair, tunicate, and the metabolite name is given and the location also given. Not only a particular place, it's all over the world. Okay, Gulf of California, Indian Ocean, Caribbean Ocean, and even commercial drug is available. So they are extracted. The base molecule is extracted from the marine organism, and then they go for semi-synthesis or fully synthesis, inorganic synthesis of drugs, biosynthesis of drugs. But the base is from marine organism only, sponge, gastropod, tunicate, okay, extracted from different countries, different regions of the world, and the list is given here. So they are antiviral, anti-cancer, and also other important properties they have. Okay, and okay. So in conclusion, so what I am coming to say is that the marine ecosystem has revealed a multitude of bioactive natural products. These marine derived compounds are found primarily among soft corals, sponges, algae, and bacteria. Clearly, the world's ocean will play an important part in the future control of the global infectious diseases as well as other problems. Although substantial progress has been made in identifying novel drug leads from the ocean's resources, great efforts are still needed to advance to clinical applications. So with this, I stop. At last, I must thank all of you. So the participants, scientists, students, faculty members, as well as the management of Satyabama for giving me an opportunity. And once again, I thank you for patient listening the participants. Thank you. If you have any queries, I am ready to answer now.
Thank you, Dr. Masilamani, sir. The session is open for discussion.
Participant, you can post your queries in the chat box, or you can use the raise hand option so that you will give an opportunity to interact with the speaker.
Meanwhile, Masilamani sir, you can display your contacts so that participant can ask.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. So you can find my address, email ID, as well as mobile number. If you have any queries, you can contact me. So you are welcome. I am ready to answer from my side.
Thank you, Masilamani sir. It's a very colorful and informative presentation. Thank you. Thanks a lot.